Hey, hey, it's your brain lady Julie here talking to you about another how do I deal with those challenging personalities at the end of this year. And we've given several tips. Now I'm going to give you another one. And this tip has all to do with the brain personality connection, which is the foundation of what we teach at the company, right? It is understanding the brain DNA code, like what is the brain wiring of the individuals you're interacting with. I talked before about the left brain, right brain. There's a lot of facets to the brain personality connection, right? There's introverts versus extroverts. There's visuals, kinesthetics, auditories. There's the male brain and the female brain, right? They're just different. And then in the family situations, you've got all the sibling issues. You've got the firstborn versus the middle child versus the baby, right? So there's a lot of different dynamics that make you, one of the other people, the beautiful personality that they are. And when you're interacting with them, it's important for you to keep that in mind. Because just like the left brain is going to think and communicate and say things differently than the right brainers are, the extroverts are going to be completely different than the introverts. So when I'm teaching this topic, I always tell people honor the introverts, be understanding of the extroverts. So if you're an extrovert out there, you've got to honor the introvert's brain. When you're talking about introversion, extroversion, it has to do with how much external stimulus going on out here. Your brain needs at any given moment in time to be happy, to function at its best. Now, the introverts have a very wide awake brain, so they need very little stimulus out here. That's one of the reasons why they have a bigger personal space. Like, they don't want to, they kind of need a lot of space here because they become overstimulated really easy. They generally will talk slower and in a softer tone, right? And they're not going to be in the middle of everything, and they're not going to want to be in the middle of everything. So they're not party poopers. They're not loners. They're not fraidy cats. They're not stuck up. They just simply, their brains can't handle as much stimulus as your brain can if you're the extrovert. So you have to honor that in them when you're communicating, because if you don't recognize this and they get put on the spot or they get in this uncomfortable position because they're overstimulated, that's when they'll snap. Right? That's when they'll say something. And if you're the introvert, now you understand, oh, that's why I snap, because my brain gets overstimulated. So you have to keep in mind that this is the way the introvert's brain is wired. It's literally their DNA code. So it doesn't have to do with any negative, any pejorative, any negative thing that you're going to put on them. It's just simply their brain DNA code. So we have to honor that. When we interact with them, we kind of have to give them their space. If they don't want to be in the middle of the conversation, if they want to sit in a chair in a quiet corner, they're happy there. They're going to pet the animals. They're going to enjoy their time being with people, but not interacting with people. And that's okay. Don't take it personal, because 9 times out of 10, it's not meant personal. It's just what their brain needs to be happy. And if you're the introvert, be understanding of those extroverts. Be understanding that they're going to be the life of the party. They're going to be in the middle of every conversation. They're going to be talking up a storm. They're probably going to be a little bit louder than the rest of the crowd, because that's the way their brain personality connection is. That's the way their DNA code, their brain DNA code is. It just is. So keep all of this in mind when you're interacting with those other personalities. If they rub you the wrong way and you've applied the other points that I've talked about over the last few days, this is another really good one to think about. When they say something, they do something, they act a certain way, it could simply be that's the way their brain is wired. It doesn't mean you're any less. It doesn't mean they're any better. It just simply is the way the brain is wired. And oftentimes that'll help us to understand a little bit more about how to deal with them and how to be okay when they do things the way that they do. So that's your brain tip, your tip for managing the challenging personalities as you interact with them going through this time of year. Come back tomorrow for the next one.